thank you all. I'm really humbled to receive this award. I know everyone needs to get back to enjoy their Friday afternoon, so I'm going to try to be brief here. So to Paige, where's Paige? The president of FWSF, the entire membership of this great organization, which I've gotten to know in great detail over the past year or so, to the past honorees, and to the co-chairs of this event, Jessica and Melissa, who I've so enjoyed working with. This is really special. I mean, I have to get a copy of that video, by the way, right? Thank you for all your support. This has been great. Also, a special congratulations to the scholarship honorees. You are exceptionally worthy of the recognition, and I wish you so much success as you continue your career trajectory. It was really inspiring. Back in May, I had the opportunity to have breakfast with all the scholarship recipients, and I'd highly encourage all the companies in the room to get to know these young women. They are truly phenomenal people, highly motivated, and clearly they're going to be the leaders of the future. I'd also like to thank all my business colleagues that I work with on a regular basis for coming out, for your sponsorship and support of this event. As Paige said, we tried to set really aggressive goals because I really believe in the cause we're supporting. So I'm so deeply grateful for you all taking the time to come out and for sponsoring the scholarships for these young women. A special thanks to Team Gilead for coming out in such large numbers. I'm really fortunate to have the opportunity to work with very talented, innovative people and to be part of a company with a mission that's driven by the support of improving the lives of our patients. It's been a phenomenal experience for me personally in a lot of different ways. And finally, to my family and friends who all came out today to support me, I really appreciate each and every one of you. You make me laugh, you keep me balanced day in and day out, and I just really can't thank you enough for that. I'm fortunate to have my mom with me here today, Mary Moore. Clearly, that's where it all starts. And I know raising someone with, as Carl said, the confidence was trying on her. But I thank you for all your support and everything you've given me, and Dad as well in life. And to Kendall, who remains one of the happiest, coolest kids. I feel like she's just a great friend, and we have a ton of fun car karaoke to soccer games. And to Carl, my life partner, thank you so much for being there for me and for supporting me in so many different ways. And yes, for making it about you a lot of times. It reminds me why I'm here. It's like, CFO, yeah, so what? And he's not here today, but fingers crossed, everybody, for my son, Ennis, who is taking his first college midterm today in Washington, D.C. So as I begin preparing my comments for this afternoon, I thought long and hard about what reflections or what words of motivation that I'd like to leave with you today. I also thought about the audience here today, and in particular the scholarship recipients, and those of you in the earlier stages of your career with aspirations or dreams to be future leaders in finance, or really whatever career or functional area you choose to pursue. One of my favorite books is by Marian Wright Edelman, and she's the founder of the Children's Defense Fund. And it's titled The Measure of Our Success, A Letter to My Children and Yours. It's a series of letters that she wrote to her 2 adult sons, and it contains 25 lessons for life. It was written more than 25 years ago, but the lessons are timeless, and I find it so rewarding and uplifting that I reread it often. Even if I only quickly scan the list of the 25 lessons, I actually have it on my iPad. My topic for today is my top 10 words of wisdom that I would share with my 20-something self. Candidly, I'd share these with my 30-something self and my 40-something self, and I'm gonna stop there. I could keep going, but I won't. As I thought about these top 10 over the past several months, I started discussing some of these themes with many female leaders that I love and respect to get their feedback. The process has been so insightful and made for some really great conversations. Just recently, I had the opportunity to enjoy an intimate dinner with many of the past recipients of FWSF's Financial Women of the Year Award. Thanks, Debbie, for hosting. It was a really engaging dinner and in conversation, and I actually got the chance to discuss with them the theme that I wanted to talk about today. And they, of course, shared one of their things that they would tell their 20-something self as we went around the table that evening. What's been so great about this exercise is the opportunity to share, hear, and learn from everyone. And while the outcomes and stories may be different, it is comforting to know that we all are on this journey of self-discovery and constantly searching for the formulas to make all of life's demands workable. So here to share with you are the top 10 words of wisdom that I have for my 20-year-old self. And I'm gonna do this David Letterman style, so starting with number 10, go for it. This one is just so foundational. Life is about taking risks. We must trust our instincts, have faith in our skill sets, and adopt a mindset of can and not can't. One of the key things I've learned in my career is to get comfortable being uncomfortable. If it's too comfortable, you're probably not growing or developing, and that's something you should never let happen. One of the measures of our success lessons is to be a can-do, will-try person. As I think about the pivotal moments in my career when I didn't necessarily know with certainty what the outcome would be, such as moving to the Bay Area, not really knowing anyone, living abroad in Europe, turning down the first CFO job I was offered. I remember some friends saying, you're crazy, right? Switching industries from high tech to biotech at a fairly late stage in my career, and countless others, the most important lesson that I've learned is to trust my instinct. I don't have favorite quotes for every one of my top 10, but this one sits on a shelf in my home office, and it is, imagine what you could do if you knew you wouldn't fail. So again, go for it. And most importantly, if you don't at least attempt it, know that nothing will happen. Number 9, pick carefully. So what am I referring to? A job or a career, yes, but it's more than that. Think about it as managing your personal brand. When you think about the company that you affiliate yourself with, is it ethical? Is it a culture where you think you can thrive? Is the mission one that aligns with your values? Why is this important? Because we spend a lot of time building a career and a reputation. Spending your time in environments with reputable leaders that you can be proud of is really important. It doesn't mean that everyone is always perfect, but working hard for something that has real meaning for you and inspiring you is very motivational. I'd say this is equally applicable to your friends, your colleagues, as well as your life partner. Spend your time with those that uplift you and those that are there for you when things aren't that great. Build relationships with individuals that will push you to be your very best and support and surround you with positive energy. Number 8, network, network, network. Or said another way, who don't you know that you should? I can't overemphasize how much relationships matter, and thank you, Carl, for bringing that up. Focus on building the biggest network you can inside and outside of your company. I think this is one area where, as women, we need to be more deliberate. I worked at PeopleSoft for 9 years before we were acquired, and my colleagues were like family to me. But reflecting back, I realized that I hadn't spent adequate time keeping in touch with former colleagues, and that my network outside of PeopleSoft was very limited. But fortunately, as a result of the acquisition, I instantaneously had this huge network across the Bay Area and outside of California and beyond. Carl and I had young kids at the time and very busy careers, so I could find a million reasons why I just didn't have time to do this. But after this realization, I became much more deliberate at keeping in touch and scheduling time with my former colleagues. I was also more proactive in attending networking events, and I scheduled this time just as you would any important or key appointment. I also began creating what I now call my personal board of directors. And this consists of friends, colleagues, mentors, and sponsors who I could learn from and seek advice and support. These were individuals that I felt really knew me and could give me honest feedback as to how I could continuously improve. I continue to develop those relationships today, and many of those people are in this room. It was an investment of time to build these relationships, and most importantly, they weren't just for my benefit, but there have been opportunities where I have been able to reciprocate the same support provided to me. Number 7, men can be great allies. My managers and the majority of my mentors and sponsors have been men. Now, it wasn't deliberate, it was simply the nature of the environments that I was in. But what I learned was that it was very important for women to create great relationships with the men you work with and your male colleagues. Find opportunities to cultivate those relationships in a way that feels comfortable for both of you. I believe men want us to be successful. Keep in mind, men have daughters, they have spouses, they have sisters just like we do. I remember working for a CEO who told me how important it was that he create a culture and an environment that he would be proud to have his teenage daughters work in. That is no different than what I want for my daughter. It takes men and women to create environments of equality. As our 44th president, Barack Obama, said, and this is one of my favorite quotes, that's what 21st century feminism is all about. The idea that when everyone is equal, we all are more free. Number 6, realize that sometimes it's you. And I pause, right? Attention. We as women sometimes underplay our strengths. We're afraid to speak up, and we don't ask for what we want as much as we should. I've been that woman, but as I've grown and matured, I've had to face the fact that sometimes my own self-doubts, my emotions, and fear of being the only one in the room are the biggest barriers to my success. Sometimes I've had to simply get out of my own way. It's not about being perfect or not having insecurities. Men have them all the time. They just don't reveal them the way we sometimes do. You have to personally believe that you deserve to be in the room. Number 5, learn how to be a great leader versus a manager and know the difference. As I think back on my focus early in my career, I sometimes measured my success more by the title or how many people I managed versus gaining a diverse set of experiences where I could develop a multitude of talents versus titles. I remember a time when I was told to take a role that required me to give up my team and move into an individual contributor role. I remember feeling that I was being treated unfairly, but looking back on it, I think what my manager wanted me to learn was the skill of influencing without authority. It was probably one of the most pivotal roles that I had because I had to influence leaders 2 to 3 pay grades higher than mine. It wasn't easy, but it was very rewarding when I succeeded. My manager at the time became a sponsor who taught me the importance of increasing my focus on developing my soft skills. which would become even more important as I developed in my career. I also learned that leaders have to be continuous learners. They are comfortable managing outside their core areas of expertise. They are agile, strategic, and know how to leverage their expertise to solve complex issues. And they know how to get the best out of their entire team. The higher up you move in your career, the less it's about managing tasks and more about your ability to inspire and lead. Number 4, you matter, sometimes more than everyone else. I'm always asked, Robin, how do you find work-life balance? The answer is you don't find time for yourself or balance. You have to make time for yourself. There are instances where you must be relentlessly selfish with your personal time to make that happen. Now, this is something I'm still perfecting, as many will tell you. It's not easy, and it doesn't always work out. But I tell my 20-something self that while sacrifices are critical and necessary, set boundaries for yourself and your family. As a leader, I'm much more conscious of sharing my need for personal time or family time, ensuring that I also respect that others need that personal time as well. In this always connected world that we live in, women and men need our time. We all deserve downtime and fun time. And most importantly, we shouldn't feel guilty about it. Some of my clearest thinking and best ideas occur after I've had the opportunity to clear my head and do something for me. I'm convinced that me time makes us all more productive in the long run. Number 3, shit happens. Have a plan B. I'd share with my 20-year-old self to accept that failure is a part of life. But remember that it's what you do after the failure that what makes the difference. Ponder and reflect for a while, but then pick yourself up and move on. I've also learned that hastily running from a situation because you face a hurdle usually doesn't lend you to a better situation. Face the issue head on, ensure you've done all you can do to make it better, and then, if it can't be fixed, move on. Plan B is being prepared if bad stuff happens. Ensure that your plan B positions you so your integrity and your safety can never be compromised. Number 2, be an advocate for change and give back. As I think about my career, I'm very aware that despite working very hard, that there were sponsors and mentors that guided me, and family and friends that prayed for me and supported me constantly. Had it not been for others, I wouldn't be standing at this podium here today. The best way for me to repay those gifts of support is to ensure that I reciprocate and help others achieve their greatest potential. As a leader, I would tell my 20-year-old self to never underestimate the influence you have, to set the tone, influence the cultures you spend time in, and make the world better for those who follow you. Despite all the competing priorities, being an advocate for change is a responsibility. Everyone can make a difference in their own special way. Whether it's a contribution of time to help others, resources to fund others' dreams and hopes when you can and they can't, or having the courage to refute myths or truths when you have a seat at the table. To whom much is given, much is required. And finally, no drum roll, but number 1 is be your authentic self. I would tell my 20-something self that to experience true happiness in your career and in life, you have to really learn who you are, become accepting of your flaws, and pursue your personal and professional passions in a way that is most natural to you. There's not a specific formula, but instead it's a continuous experiment of experiences, unique for each and every one of us. I'd end my conversation with my 20-something self by sharing my favorite lesson from Measures of Our Success. Lesson number 21, which reads, listen for the sound of genuine within yourself and others. Meditate and learn to be alone without being lonely. Small, Einstein said, is the number of them that see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. Try to be one of them. There is, Howard Thurman told Spelman College students in 1981, something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you'll ever have, and if you cannot hear it, you will all your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. Thank you.